Go down Jerome's raw, real car rant. If only there was a name for a video podcast that is just audio. I don't know, man. It'll never work. Yeah. But the Vikings are going to try and make it work this offseason. And so everything with Sam Darnold was a ton of fun, right? But ultimately, at the end, I think it doesn't change what the Vikings' plan was all along, right? Where if Darnold had played heroically and did some damage in the playoffs as opposed to damage to the team, things could be different. Like if Slinging Sammy's getting ready to play in that Super Bowl, just cut him a blank check and plans have changed, right? But I think that even though it was real, it was fun, the Vikings don't win 14 games without Darnold, it's time to have J.J. McCarthy be that guy, right? And that was the plan all along. Darnold, bridge guy, McCarthy, before the injury, maybe he'll take over midseason. He'll be that guy, right? And Kwesi understands the economics of things, where you have your starting quarterback on his rookie deal. You can spend all the cash to build an Avengers team around him. And then after that quarterback is done with his rookie deal and it's time for him to get paid premium dollars and take up a large portion of the salary cap, by then, hopefully that quarterback is at the point where he can make everyone around him better. So then you can skimp and you can save on the players around him. So you don't have those high-priced players. You have young players. You have cheaper veterans, etc. All right, so that is the plan. And now the Vikings sitting with between 60 and 70 million in cap space, depending on what the official salary cap for 2025 is going to be. They have all the ammunition. They have all the motivation to go out there and take some big swings. Right now, in-house, you have a couple of free agents. I don't see them running it back with Stephon Gilmore if he doesn't retire. I've gone back and forth with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is great. His leadership is phenomenal. But this is such a good running back class that even though the Vikings only have 4 draft picks, I could see them trading down, taking at least 1 running back, if not 2. And also, the UDFA running backs in this class are going to be like dudes who normally go in the middle of day 3. So I think there's going to be too much running back talent there, and I would prefer Akers on a cheap deal than Aaron Jones, even at like $4 or $5 million. All right, so that's where we're at. I would like Beasley. I would like Murphy back. We'll see. Although, say that Beasley leaves, and then you take all of that cash that would have gone to him and maybe a little bit more and go get Javon Holland, baby. I think we may have a stew going there. But Kwesi's not a dummy, right? And it's a copycat league, and he sees what's winning. Well, it's a formula that wins all over the place, right? And Howie Roseman, God bless him, is one of the best general managers in the National Football League, right? And yeah, he's completely obsessed with the Georgia Bulldogs defense, but he's built an FU offensive line. He's built a defensive line that there's so many dudes on that defensive line that can get their own pass rush and be disruptive. And that's the great equalizer. And we said this before. Pass rush travels. Running game travels, right? And now the Eagles are so good to go in the trenches that they could spend all that extra fun money. Jalen Hurts getting overpaid on a big contract for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then go out and get Saquon, $12.5 million, which, by the way, that's not much. You know what I mean? Like, Adrian Peterson was making $12.5 million 10 years ago. And with inflation, that's nothing. I mean, the Vikings paid Marcus Davenport $10 million in 2023. It's ridiculous. Just that's the only redeeming quality of the Eagles in the Super Bowl is that Saquon. I like Saquon. Everyone else can suck one. Maybe Nick Muse. Nick Muse can get one. Maybe Lewis Seen. There you go. Actually, it would be funny if Lewis Seen got a Super Bowl ring just to shut up all the haters and the losers. But, the Vikings, they see what you need to do in the trenches. And, the offensive line, the Vikings have spent money on the offensive line. They've spent premium draft picks, day 1, day 2. And they've tried to fix it. They haven't done it, right? I think that outside zone is great, but at the end of the day, in big boy playoff football in January, February, you have to be able to stonewall a nose tackle who's trying to toss your center into the lap of the quarterback. And the offense cannot get anything going in the run game or passing if you're consistently getting blown up at guard and center. And maybe the guards would have worked out if Bradbury wasn't there at center. Who knows? It's a chicken or the egg proposition. I think the Vikings need to blow everything up inside. Right? Darisaw, O'Neal, tackles are good to go. And also extend O'Neal so he can lower his 2025 cap hit from $26 million down to lower. Right? And the whole Bradbury thing, he's on the wrong side of 30. He's had back issues that have cost him games in 2 out of the last 3 years. And it's time to go. Now, we always say, don't let good be the enemy of great. Bradbury's not even that good, right? And it's time to go out and get Drew Dahlman in free agency. It's time to go out and get majors from Texas in the draft. It's time to get serious about the interior offensive line. And guards, I mean, you have this opportunity. You have the need. You have the cash. Go out and get Trey Smith. Outbid the Bears just to make sure that they don't get in. And I know that your thinking is like, well, what about outbidding for Christian Wilkins last year? I mean, that's fine. Christian Wilkins is a stud. But Trey Smith, he's going to be that guy that completely turns around this offensive line. The power in the run game, the pass protection, the leadership, the winning pedigree. He's got everything, man. And that's what you're going to pay up for. I don't care if it's $21, $22 million per year, pay it. Just go out and get it done. Get Trey Smith. And then guess what? Pick up veteran Ryan Kelly if you don't get Dahlman. Pick up Mekhi Becton out there and shift him over to left guard. He can do it because he played mainly left tackle with the Jets as well as at Louisville. Right? So the footwork won't be too bad. And then you got power. Then you got ass. Right? So you don't want to be pushed around. And then guess what? 4th and 1, I don't want to go shotgun. And in the red zone, beyond hoping that Darnold isn't inaccurate as hell, I want to be able to just run the football right in the opponent's face. Go ahead, try and stop this. Right? And also, the best FU is when teams go for 2 and then they just run a simple running play. Right? An ISO, a dive, a power, a belly, just whatever. We're just going to run it at you because we don't think that you can stop us for 2 yards. That's great. I want to get back to there, right? And it's always kind of like whack-a-mole, right? And it's hard to have a complete team together. And when the Vikings had prime Adrian Peterson and a great offensive line, the quarterback play and wide receiver play was terrible. Now we're going to have good quarterback play. We're going to have great wide receiver play, of course, but now the interior offensive line is rotten, right? And then defensively, the Vikings have a lot of ways to go about things. Number one, I think they should spend up at corner. You're getting Byron Murphy Jr., getting a guy like Rasul Douglas, the turnover machine. He could be had pretty cheap. Maybe going all in for DJ Reed. And yeah, the Vikings got money to spend it. All right? And I trust Kwesi and Brzezinski. They can structure these deals where it's going to, even though the Vikings have a ton of cap space, they're going to have even more in future years until it's time for McCarthy to get paid. So the Vikings can fetter out these cap hits and complete this Avengers team. And we said, I want them to hammer offensive line and cornerback in free agency. Because those guys are on the field 100% of the snaps, basically, for corners. So you want guys that you know are good. The Vikings are in the Super Bowl window right now, even though J.J. McCarthy has never taken a snap in the National Football League. They are. That's what it is, right? And 14-win season, that's not going to be the high water mark of this recent era of Vikings football. This is going to be something that they build upon, right? So get guys that you know are good right now. And then this draft, you can go BPA. And guess what? BPA is probably going to be some defensive linemen, some running backs. And also, guess what? Even though Vikings are bereft of draft picks right now, I mean, trading down from 24 ain't that bad of a proposition. Because the talent level between, say, picks 15 and 90 is pretty flat. There's going to be so many talented dudes that fall to the second and third rounds. So many guys right now in the draft process you're looking at, it's like, oh my God, how did they fall that far? Like Deion Walker, one of our crushes, could fall. Walter Nolan could fall out of the first round. Like, you have no idea. Like, so many damn good running backs. Like, Trevion Henderson is probably going to be outside the top 40, where in most seasons he would go higher, right? Scadabo, Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal, there's Marion Hampton. There's going to be so many damn good running backs in this class that the Vikings can bring speed. They can get the hammer behind that revamped offensive line. And guess what? Defensive line-wise, just get dudes. Just get dudes. There's so many. There's probably at least 15 to 18 defensive interior players that are going to be active participants on a roster next year or in the next couple of years. There's just so many damn good dudes, and that's what you need. Hey, well, this guy doesn't play the run. I don't know if he's going to be a 3-down player. Do not care. Do not care at all. On 3rd and 8, I want dudes out there with Gernard, Van Ginkel, Cashman, Pace, Turner. I want defensive linemen lining up in the A and B gaps to be able to beat their dudes and get in the quarterback's face and whoop somebody's ass. That's what I want, right? The Vikings can stop the run. They're freaking second in the league against the run. They're 4th in yards per carry. They can stop the run. That's fine. But pass rush is where they're having issues, right? And I know that you can nitpick the secondary as well, but a lot of that is driven by the fact that the Vikings, they can't get home unless they blitz. And when you blitz, that leaves fewer players in the back end for coverage. And that stresses things. And if a quarterback beats the blitz, the O-line picks it up. And guess what? It's kind of easy to do when you know that it's coming because Flores blitzes every single time, right? If you can do that, then all of a sudden it's game over back there, right? Even the best corners in the league, if you're playing 5-on-4 or 4-on-3, you're going to lose. That's just how it is, right? But I think the Vikings, it is a copycat league, and they have this golden opportunity. They don't have a ton of draft picks. That's fine. They got the cap space, and they can check the boxes of needs. Free agency for need, draft BPA, best player available. And it's kind of nice because it's almost kismet, is that the depth positions of this draft are the positions that the Vikings also need. So just by law of supply, like there's going to be very talented players at the top of the Vikings BPA, best player available board, at positions of need. Sometimes it just works out, right? So running back, defensive tackle, interior offensive line is great. Hell, take Gray Zabel. He's a local dude. Why the hell not? All I know is that, hey, the season was fantastic. And I know that the media, especially Barnwell's been really weird about this. It's like, oh, did you know that the Vikings had the oldest number of players that took snaps this year? Do not give a two hoots. Because guess what? Things are a little bit skewed when you have Harrison Smith and Stephon Gilmore and Aaron Jones and Andrew DePaulo in that mix. Sorry. Just happens, man. All right, but think of how young this core is. J.J. McCarthy is going to be 22 next season. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Darisaw. You got Hawkinson. You got Ivan Pace Jr. You got Cashman. You got Grenard. You got Diamond Dallas Turner. Yeah, AVG just turned 30. Josh Metellus. You have so many dudes that are under contract and under 30 that are going to whoop somebody's ass on this team, man. So at this core, this team is young. This team is hungry. Kevin O'Connell's extended. Kwesi's got to get extended. Keep the band together, and guess what? We got to get that chip. Got to get that edge. And it's not reinventing the wheel. It's been true since time immemorial. Papa Bear Hallis, Newt Rockney, talking about the trenches. Oh, what about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Well, they couldn't do their damn thing if the offensive line didn't block. Right? It's like Vince Lombardi playing guard for Fordham and the 7 blocks of granite. That's what you need up front, man. So, Kwesi, I know you're a math guy, and the math says that you're not going to win a Super Bowl unless you could whip somebody's ass in the trenches. So hammer offensive line, hammer D-line, and everything else to take care of itself. It's just so magical how a quarterback gets better and the running game gets better if there's a competent offensive line in front of them. And also, it's weird how linebackers just rack up and stack up those tackles when they have a dominant D-line in front of them. And also, cornerbacks just look so good. Just look so good when they only have to cover less than 2 seconds because the defensive line is that freaking getting after things. I love it, man. Anyways, I don't know what we accomplished. That's it. Raw, real car rant. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skull. No production value.